not sufficient. Knowledge about mind is also not sufficient. So knowledge is required to be known at 3 levels. There are 3 levels of knowledge which the scriptures explain. Anyone who know what are the 3 levels or 3 types of knowledge? 3 types of knowledge. The first is called the avidya. Avidya means this is the knowledge of nations. Nations, you understand? Ignorance. In this branch of knowledge, that is the mundane knowledge or the contemporary academic knowledge, one only comes to know about matter, nothing beyond matter. And this knowledge is not the branch of the knowledge which is coming from Vedas. So it is called avidya. It makes the living entity believe that he is a product of matter. But have you found anywhere that life is coming from matter? Where does life come from? Think about it. Where does life come from? What is the originating point of any living entity? Is another living entity. Right or wrong? So life comes from life. But modern science or modern education, it has no clue. Why? Because this is at the level of only matter, which is inert. So matter is also generated from spirit. So higher than the avidya is the aparavidya. Or this is the knowledge which pertains to matter and mind, both. So this knowledge is received from Vedas. From Vedas. But this knowledge is also restricted to the 3 modes. And beyond avidya and aparavidya is paravidya. Paravidya means transcendental knowledge. The knowledge about spirit, the knowledge about soul, the knowledge about that which is eternal. So Bhagavad-Gīta gives us the knowledge of paravidya, which is eternal knowledge. So with this little foundation, can we proceed? So far I'll just give a recap because most of you are coming for the first time. That the Bhagavad-Gīta is a book which contains the foundation. It starts with the foundation and it reaches to the culmination of human understanding. So the first and the foremost thing is to understand that who we are. What is our identity? So Bhagavad-Gīta gives us the identity that we are not just body or matter, and we are not our mind. So what do you experience of our mind? Is it stable? Is it consistent? No. So if we identify ourselves with mind, then what will happen to us? We will be in confusion. How many of you have faced confusion in life? Anyone? Every moment. Every moment there is a confusion, bewilderment. So where it is coming? Because we are identifying ourselves with mind. But both beyond body and mind is the true self, which is the spirit soul. It is eternal. Eternal means it has no change. So to the extent we come and relate ourselves to the the eternal self, we will always face many challenges, not just challenges, sufferings. So Arjuna is placed in such a situation. Arjuna is representing the entire human race. The human race, which is not situated in knowledge. And Arjuna is bewildered. A very, apt setting, because Arjuna is on the battlefield. So one may ask that what have I to do with the battlefield? I never had battle in my life. But do we have a battle in our heart or not? Yeah. Why? Because we are not able to decide whether to do or not to do. So that battle is there, that Kurukshetra is there within the heart of everyone in this age of Kali. And we need a guide, a guru like Krishna, to make us decide what exactly to do and why to do. So Bhagavad-Gīta brings us to the platform of performing duty. And Bhagavad-Gīta is for everyone. Like you are all students. What is your foremost duty? It's to study. You have all been enrolled in IARI. After being enrolled in IARI, you do not go and attend your classes, but you prepare for IAS. Some students do that. So what will be the result? What will be the result? The result is that you are not performing your duty. And if you do not perform your duty, if you engage in any other activity, not keeping your study, your learning in focus, there will be very severe repercussions, very severe consequences. And that is called sinful reactions. So like you are students, your duty is to study, to receive knowledge from your teachers, your learned professors. But similarly for a householder, his duty is to earn his livelihood. Like your father or even your mother also. Now in India, mothers are also forced to earn. But if you see few generations back, did you ever see your grandmother working anywhere? Anyone? That is not there in the Vedic culture because the father was sufficient to earn. And how many children were there previously? Lenin sir? If you see our grandmothers, she had how many sons and daughters? Multiples. A full cricket team would be there. And there was no scarcity. Was there scarcity then? No. But this is the advancement we have made. This is the advancement we have made. Now they will have one son and daughter and both are forced to work. But still they have insufficient funds. So why so? Because we are completely disconnected. So Bhagavad-Gīta connects us to our foundation, to our roots. So Krishna, he sees Arjuna. In the first chapter, Arjuna is completely bewildered. He is perplexed. He does not want to perform his duty. He does not want to fight. And there are various reasons which he gives why he does not want to fight. The first reason which he gives is he feels compassion. Compassion for the opposite party, the soldiers. He says that if I fight, then I will kill. So if I kill, it is going to be very painful for me. So better for me not to fight, to give it up. But Arjuna was very conveniently ignoring the fact that why this battle is being fought. What was the purpose of battle? To get some kingdom, to get some ground. What was the reason of battle? To establish dharma. So in our heart also, we will always have a battle. If we want to perform our duty, it would be difficult. Why? Because the mind is not inclined to do that. The body is not inclined to do that. And the situation and the circumstances are not favorable. So Arjuna is giving various reasons. And one of the reasons he gives is that he will not be able to enjoy. That is the very foremost reason. Don't worry. In material world, there will always be some test. However best we try, we cannot give this knowledge to them. Is it possible? So with this human form of life, we have the privilege. So we should not let our life pass like this, barking dogs. So the second reason Arjuna gave, which is a very practical reason, which is the criteria for us to decide whether we will perform our duty or not, is our enjoyment. Right or wrong? Most of the time, the criteria for us to decide is, will it give me enjoyment? Will it give me happiness? Then I am inclined to do, otherwise I am not inclined to do. So that is the second reason Arjuna gives. He says that if I kill, even if I get the kingdom, whom will I enjoy with? Seems very practical. So Arjuna is at least honest. He's saying I am not performing duty because I won't be able to enjoy. So I'll give it up. And third reason Arjuna gives is that there will be sinful reaction. Sins will be incurred. So if I kill, there will be sin. And further he gives two more reasons. One reason he gives is loss of dynasty or destruction of the dynasty. And fifth reason, the real reason is indecision. So whenever we are faced with indecision in life, where we have to look? We have to look in Bhagavad-Gīta. That is what Mahatma Gandhi said. You know the famous quote of Mahatma Gandhi? Anyone? You don't know who is Mahatma Gandhi? It would be here. Yeah. So Mahatma Gandhi said that when doubts haunt me and disappointments stare at me at the face, and I see not one ray of hope in the horizon, I turn to Bhagavad-Gīta and find a verse to comfort me. And I immediately begin to smile in the midst of overwhelming sorrow. You can see it is there on the back side. Those who meditate on the Gita will derive fresh joy and new meaning from it every day. So if you really want to have joy, how many of you want to experience joy in life? Some of you don't want to experience. So Bhagavad-Gīta gives us the path how to always remain joyful. So because there are some other students also who have joined. So far Arjuna was giving all these reasons and he was saying, I will not fight. I'm not interested to fight because if I fight, I don't see any gain. Kimnu Rajena Govinda, Kim Hogena Jivatena Va. So what is there for me to fight? Even if I win this kingdom, I will not be able to enjoy. Supposingly you are told that don't take it otherwise. Even if you get the gold medal here, you won't get the job. So what will be the thought? Why shall I be here? So this is what Arjuna is thinking. But Krishna will now enlighten him. Krishna will enliven him and Krishna is going to elevate him. The first platform which Krishna tells Arjuna and brings every one of us is that human form of life is a life of responsibility. Human life is a life of responsibility. And what is the responsibility? What is the responsibility in human form of life which is not there in other forms of life? Inquisitiveness, yes, but it does not relate to responsibility. Anyone? Just think over it. Think. You are all big think tanks, so you are here in IARI. You have excelled. You have excelled in your academics, so you are here. This is the Institute of Repute, the most coveted institute for agriculture. Everyone wants to be in IARI, like everyone who wants to be an engineer wants to be in IIT. So what is the responsibility in this human form of life? No responsibility we have in this human form of life. We are free to do whatever we like. What is the responsibility? Think. There is no negative marking and there are no prizes.
Responsibility for family.
So,
Family.
yeah, that is responsibility of family, true. But even bigger than that.
Salvation.
Salary?
Salvation.
Salvation. Oh, yes. It's a big goal. Salvation. Yes, human form of life is to end one's suffering. Salvation means there is no suffering. Like these dogs who are barking out. Can they have salvation? Can they terminate their suffering? Not possible. So how it is possible? It is possible by performing one's duty. Bhagavad-Gīta gives us this understanding, which most of us in this outside world do not know. Everybody is seeking happiness, but they do not know that what is the path for happiness. We will become only happy when we perform our duty. So Bhagavad-Gīta enlivens us. So Krishna is enlightening Arjuna and elevating him to perform duty. So the first knowledge which Krishna gives is the knowledge of Atma Gyan. Atma Gyan. From Agyan to Atma Jnana. So this is the first lesson. So until one knows about himself, his real identity, he is in Ajnana. He is in Avidya. Avidya. This is the knowledge of nations. So Krishna is elevating Arjuna from knowledge of nations to come to the knowledge of self. So we have discussed around 25 verses in the second chapter. And Krishna, I'll just give a recap. So Krishna first chastises Arjuna and tells him that you are a coward. Who is a coward? Anyone who does not perform his duty is a coward. Simple. For Arjuna, it was his battlefield. But anyone who is in occupation and he does not perform his duty is a coward. And Krishna does not stop there. Krishna tells Arjuna that you are important, not important. You are important. Important means one who has no virility, useless fellow. But Arjuna, he represents the human race. He is arguing. He is still not agreeing. And he gives various reasons. So from 4th verse till 7th verse, we will see that Arjuna is arguing, still arguing. He is bewildered, he does not have solution, and he is not being pacified, but still he does not agree. So that is very typical of a conditioned soul. He knows that on his own, he cannot find his solution, but still he does not accept the solution which is given to him. So that is what Arjuna is representing. But Arjuna, when he sees that he is completely checkmated, he does not have any solution, so he submits to Krishna and says that I am your student. From a friend, I am changing my position, because as a friend, what he was doing? He was just arguing and refuting. It happens. Many times a good friend gives a good solution or suggestion. Do we agree? Not agree. First we doubt. And we argue with him. So we should learn, and the second lesson is that we should learn not to argue, but to agree. That is advancement. That is real advancement. From argument to come to the stage of agreement. This is a sign of Jnana. And argument is a sign of nations, avidya. So we will keep the topic simple today. We will discuss on this parameter only. What is avidya and what is Jnana? So Bhagavad-Gīta contains the culmination, the perfection of all knowledge. This is called Rajavidya. This is the king of all knowledge. There is no knowledge which can be compared anywhere as compared to Bhagavad-Gīta. So profound is the knowledge. And Krishna begins to give this knowledge, this Atma Jnana, by telling Arjuna that you will always exist. Why are you having so much of moroseness, or why you are having so much of lamentation that if you fight, you will kill and they will die? What you are seeing yourself and others is only an external manifestation. The substance, the real self is eternal. So Krishna gives the Tattva Jnana. The first Tattva Jnana which he gives is the difference between matter and spirit. Difference between temporary and eternal. Difference between what is external and what is internal. So from Ajnana, Krishna elevates and uplifts Arjuna to come to Jnana. So the real journey will begin when the inquiry is to know the self, who we are. So that is the journey of self-discovery. How many of you want to come to this voyage of journey of self-discovery? How many of you want to come to this journey? Very few. Others want to remain on the material plane. So Krishna is elevating Arjuna and he gives the understanding. Not only the information. Information you can have, you go to Google, you can find loads and loads of information. But can you get understanding? No. So Krishna gives the understanding. And later Krishna will give also the application, how to apply this knowledge so that we can get the benefit. So we may have the information, but to the extent we lack the understanding, that knowledge will not give us any benefit. And Krishna will also give us the progression, how to apply this knowledge. So that is Vijnana. Jnana means knowledge, but Vijnana means realization. So Krishna will give the elevation to Arjuna, and through Arjuna to all of us, how to apply this knowledge. And Krishna says that how to apply this knowledge, that you should learn not to be disturbed. The second lesson which he gives is that you should learn not to be disturbed. Not to be disturbed by the ever-changing externals. Externals are always changing. Can you stop the change? Can anyone stop the change? Not possible. But to the extent we relate to the external, we get disturbed. So Krishna gives the focus that do not remain on the external plane. What is the verse? Matra sparshas tu kaunteya shito ushno sukha dukkada agama apaino anitya. So that which is temporary, it has two features. What are the two features of everything which is temporary in this world? That it has an origin and it has an end. So it is fleeting. It is just passing by. So why be disturbed? The sun rises in the morning and it sets in the evening. Is someone disturbed? Do we get disturbed? Why? Because we know the sun will arise again tomorrow. So Krishna gives this analogy and he educates Arjuna that don't be disturbed. Similarly, the body is just the passing means. And then he explains that the soul, it cannot be cut, it cannot be burned, it cannot be moistened. Krishna gives the characteristics of the soul. And the body, it cannot be preserved. Can anyone preserve the body? We went and saw one body of a great Acharya, which is preserved. We just went to Srirangam. Any one of you comes from... Srirangam is in Tamil Nadu, no? Tamil Nadu. Anyone from Tamil Nadu? No one? You are there from Nepal. Both of you are from Tamil Nadu. It is unusual. We saw the body, the real body present after 1000 years. But that is an exception, not for others. That privilege is not possible for others. So Krishna has explained that for the eternal, there is no loss. Nasate vidyate bhavo. And that which is temporary, there is no endurance. That means the body cannot be preserved and the soul can never be lost. So why lament? You should perform your duty. And in various verses, Krishna has explained this principle that the material body is sure to come to an end, and whereas the soul is indestructible, immeasurable, and eternal. And the soul, it has never come into being. Like the body, we all have our date of birth, isn't it? We all know, we write now. Whenever you apply, you have to write your date of birth. But they do not ask, what is your date of expiry? But for sure, as soon as there is date of birth, with the product which is being made with the date of birth, that means it has a date of expiry. Yeah. So it cannot be endured. It's sure to end. So after explaining all this, so now Krishna comes to the 26th verse. And he says that the soul is so subtle that it cannot be conceived or perceived by any material means. Has any scientist so far been able to detect soul? No, not possible. So Krishna gives this understanding. He says that the soul is invisible. Has anyone been able to see the soul? No. What to say of the soul? One cannot see one's own mind, nor our intelligence. And it is inconceivable. So by any human intelligence, one cannot conceive of the soul. So how we are getting information of the soul? through Vedic knowledge. And it is immutable. Immutable means that it cannot be measured. Why? Because it is so atomic. It is so minuscule that it cannot be measured. And now Krishna, from the 26th verse, will give another viewpoint. So far he has given this viewpoint. Just speak. Tell him I am in the class. Go out and speak. So now Krishna will give another angle of understanding. So far he has given between what is eternal and what is temporary. So one should not lament for temporary, but one should focus on what is eternal. So similarly for us, in our real life situation, there will be many circumstances where we will be faced with temporary sufferings or temporary inconvenience or disturbances. So we should not connect with them. We should not connect with them. We should have our focus very clear. What is the purpose of being in IARI? What is the purpose of being in human form of life? Then we will not be carried away. So I will take the 26th verse. This is second chapter and 26th verse. So now Krishna will give the other side of the understanding. He says, we will do the invocation first and then we will recite Hare Krishna Mantra. So see, Bhagavad-Gīta is not academic knowledge. It cannot be amassed or it cannot be known by one's intellect or ability or memory. It can only be known by the grace of the Supreme Lord. So how we approach Bhagavad-Gīta is in a prayerful mood, not what we do with our books. We have to solve some question, and what do? We know where it is. We open the book, do some Google search and write the paper. Project finished. Not this way. Bhagavad-Gīta cannot be accessed in this way. So Bhagavad-Gīta can be accessed only when our approach is prayerful. So we will first recite the prayers. It is there in the first page. If you open the first page, page number 1, you will see the prayers. Yeah, help them. No? So you can just attentively meditate and we will recite. Okay? Om Ajnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vansha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. So far Krishna has explained the difference between matter and spirit, the difference between eternal and impermanent. But now Krishna says, even if you fail to understand this concept, if you are not able to get the proper understanding, Krishna presents another viewpoint. Krishna presents another argument. This is verse number 26. He says, Atha chainam nityajatam nityam va manyase mritam tathapi tvam mahabaho nainam shochitum arhasi. Just be on the same page. Have you been able to, please help them to open the verse. They have come for the first time. 2.26. Page number may vary from edition to edition. So atha means, Sanskrit is very dynamic language, and it gives the correct comprehension which Krishna is speaking. And Prabhupada, this edition of Bhagavad-Gīta, each word meaning is there. So if you study Bhagavad-Gīta, you will automatically learn Sanskrit. You don't have to make any external effort. So atha means that if, however, why, however, if you fail to understand what so far Krishna has explained, which most of us fail to understand about the soul. He said, never mind. If you even do not understand what I have said so far, atha chainam, so if you do not understand that, then just understand this, atha chainam nitya jatam. That if you think for the soul, it is born. Jata means to take birth. And nityam va manyase mritam. So as I said, any thing which has date of birth or manufacture, it will have date of expiry. That is mritam. So even if you are thinking that the soul is not eternal, and if you do not accept that knowledge, is that even if you think that it is being born with the body, and it will terminate with the body, nityam va manyase mritam. If you still agree, if you still accept that, tathapi tvam mahabhaho, still, and mahabhaho means one who is mighty armed. Arjuna was very mighty armed. He was the greatest warrior. His prowess was such that he could defeat the full army alone. So he is being addressed as mahabhaho. In a way, Krishna is giving a sarcastic remark that you are so mighty armed, but this basic understanding you cannot have between the difference of body and soul. So don't worry. So Arjuna was also chastised because he could not understand the difference between body and soul. He says, Tathapi tvam mahabhaho nenam shochitum arhashi. But still, there are no reason for you to lament or to be disturbed. So at that time also, there were some class of men in the Vedic times also who were not able to get this knowledge properly. And they were thinking that the soul and the body is the same. Or rather, they were not knowing the difference between the body and the soul. So they were thinking that the person takes birth, he stays for some time, he grows, he gives some byproduct, that is stagnation. Then there is the dwindling, and finally he perishes. So there are always a class of philosophers. Just see the purport. We will explain through the purport. So there are always class of philosophers almost akin to the Buddhist. You know the Buddhist class of philosophers or practitioners. They do not believe in the existence of soul. They say there is nothing like soul. So Krishna has given the argument that even if you consider that there is no soul, that the body takes birth and it dies, who do not believe in the separate existence of the soul beyond the body. So there are various classes of philosophers. So these are of these types who are not able to distinguish between the gross and the subtle. To go to the subtle, one has to be very advanced. Gross is what which is visible. Subtle is that which is not visible. And soul is even beyond subtle. When the subtle is not visible, what to speak of the soul? So Prabhupada is saying, when Lord Krishna spoke the Bhagavad-Gīta, it appears that such philosophers existed, and they are known as the Lokayatikas and Shikas. So these are two classes. Such philosophers maintain that life symptoms take place at a certain mature condition of material combination. That is what the modern science still believes. How this manifestation came into being? From Big Bang. Have you seen anywhere that there is explosion, and from explosion there is creation? Does that happen? Is it possible? But why? Because they fail to understand the subtle science. So they are at the gross level. The modern material scientists and materialistic philosophers always think similarly. According to them, the body is the combination of physical elements. And at a certain stage, the life symptoms develop by interaction of the physical and chemical elements. If that was true, then babies will be born in labs, not in hospitals. The scientists are trying. Which baby? Test tube baby. Test tube baby. So that test is continuing. So that is the science of anthropology, is based on this philosophy. Anyone who knows what is anthropology? Study of human race. So human race is coming from where? From chemicals. How many of you believe? How many of you believe that our ancestors are chemicals? A combination of chemicals. Anyone believes? No, we don't believe, because we are not. Similarly, we are not coming from apes. How many of us believe that we are coming from apes or monkeys? That theory is incomplete, inconsistent. How? Because if we are coming from monkeys, then all the monkeys would have become human now. Isn't it? Then there was no question of monkeys to exist. But we have monkeys also, and we have humans also. So in one single argument, it is defeated. Monkeys were always monkeys, and humans were always humans. So this science of anthropology is based on this philosophy. Currently, many pseudo-religions, now becoming fashionable in America, are also adhering to this philosophy, as are the nihilistic, non-devotional Buddhist sects. So there are many class of men, this atheistic class of men, who does not say that there is the existence of soul. So it is very convenient. If the soul does not exist, then the super soul also does not exist. If the super soul and soul both does not exist, so where is the question of relationship? Or where is the question of subordination? So this is convenient to them. So, but even if Arjuna did not believe in the existence of the soul, in the Vaibhashika philosophy, there would still have been no cause for lamentation. No one laments for the loss of certain bulk of chemicals. If we say that our body is coming from chemicals, then why should we agree for the body? Actually, you see, this knowledge which Krishna is giving here in Bhagavad-Gīta, if you will compare, it is not there in any other religious book. You compare Bible, you compare Quran, nowhere. They're very unique. This knowledge is given only in Bible. And I was hearing one lecture, one of the advanced devotees were explaining. He did a very, thorough research that previously Bible had this knowledge. The knowledge of the soul was there in the Bible, but it was very conveniently deleted. And how it got deleted also, he did that finding. Finding was done by some Christians only. Powerful king in Rome. His name was Constantine. Anyone of you have heard Constantine or Constantine. Yeah. He was the one who spread Christianity. And in his empire, that influence came till Asia. The entire Middle Asia and all. And he had a wife, a queen. And she had a very sinful background. So because if the existence of soul is there, then soul means there is eternal existence. And when the soul is eternal existence, that means there will be transmigration. Because the soul transmigrates. Are you with me? Understand this concept? Transmigration, you understand now that the soul keeps changing the body. Like in this body also you can experience. Most of you are in your prime youth, between 20 to 25. But this body that you have, was the body same 10 years before? Or will the body be same 10 years further? No. But if someone asks, who are you? What you will answer? What will you answer? That I am a new person? I am a changed person? I am the same person. So Krishna gives this phenomena. The first basic learning is that as the soul constantly changes body from boyhood, come Dinesh ji. You have another professor with us, Dinesh Sharma ji. Take a seat here, sir. So the body is constantly changing, but the spirit soul is same. This very simple understanding we can all agree with is we were kids, isn't it? But that body is there? No, we will say it has grown. But then we were in our youth, in our teens. Still that body is there? No. We are now in our youth, but will this body stay? No. It is constantly passing. Similarly, what is death? That at the time of death, the soul passes from this body and accepts a new body. And a person who is situated in this Atma Gyan, who is not in avidya, he is not bewildered by such a change. Such a person is called a sober person or a dhira. Dhiras tatra na bhuyati. So here, this queen of King Constantine, because she had a very sinful past, she influenced the king to remove this section of the soul. And you see, there are so many changes which has happened in Bible. Anyone who has studied in a Christian school? Any one of you? You studied in a Christian school too? So with me also. I was studying in a school which was in church. Practically it was in church. And it was run by an Irish gentleman, Sir William Henry Smith. So we were taught Bible from class 5th till 8th. It was compulsory for everyone because it was a missionary school. So there are 10 commandments. And what is the first commandment? Thou shalt not kill. But you will not find thou shalt not kill now. I went and did the search today also. What is the commandment now? Thou shalt not murder. Murder. Kill has been changed to murder. There is a very serious repercussion for it. You understand what is the difference between kill and murder? Anyone would like to answer? You would like to answer, you know? What is the difference between kill and murder? Killing and murdering?
In murder, death is sure.
Killing death is not sure?
He will survive.
Yeah. And then in murder also, there can be attempt to murder. In legal terms, there is that. One is charged because there is an attempt to murder. Yeah. But what is the difference between killing and murder? There is a fundamental difference. Sorry? Duty is to kill or to murder? Achha, very good. Good explanation. Okay. Think in this line, think even more deeper. If someone kills a tiger or he kills a rat or a cat, is he hanged? Because it is not considered to be a murder. So killing is also for other species of life. And murder is only especially for human race. And murdering is an offense. It is a crime. One is likely to be punished. So they have changed. So there are many changes. And Lord Jesus Christ said that there are many more things which I need to tell you. But because at that time people were not trained. So knowledge can be given only to the extent that the people are receptive to accept. So Bible does not give full comprehension of understanding between difference of body and soul. No, that knowledge has been tampered or removed from the Bible. Due to this, King Constantine. Same with Quran also. It talks about very basic things. What it talks about, that one should not commit adultery. So there are so many other basic raw things. But Bhagavad-Gīta gives the full, complete knowledge to perfect one's purpose of human life. So Krishna is explaining here that even if you consider that there is nothing like soul, and if you consider the soul and the body to be the same, and it takes birth and it dies, and how it takes birth? Because of the combination of certain chemicals. So who will lament on the loss of chemical? Interestingly, if you do a chemical research, you know what is the value of the chemicals which are inside our body? Some few hundred or thousand rupees. That's it. Is it our work? If somebody will say that, I want to take your body and give you 5,000 rupees, will we ever agree? We will not agree. We will not agree. So Krishna is saying no one laments for the loss of certain bulk of chemicals. And stop discharging his prescribed duty. So Krishna is, in a way, he is enforcing Arjuna that his responsibility is to perform his duty. And as a Kshatriya, what is his duty? To establish dharma. To establish dharma. So on the other side, in the modern science and scientific warfare, there are so many tons of chemicals are wasted for achieving victory over the enemy. According to the Vaibhashika philosophy, the so-called soul or Atma vanishes along with the deterioration of the body. So this is one thought of school, which do not believe in the existence of soul. So even if one agrees to their disbelief, still there is no reason to lament. So in any case, whether Arjuna accepted the Vedic conclusion that there is an atomic soul, or he did not believe in the existence of the soul, he had no reasons to lament. According to this theory, there are so many living entities generating out of matter every moment. And so many of them are being vanquished every moment. So there is no need to grieve for such incidents. If there were no rebirth for the soul, Arjuna had no reason to be afraid of being afflicted by sinful reaction. So if one that has taken birth, it has gone. So where is the possibility of receiving the reaction? There is one philosopher, Charvak. Have you heard about him? Charvak. Yavat jivet, sukham jivet. This is what modern people believe in. Till the time you live very happily. Yavat jivet, sukham jivet. Then what is the next line? Rinam kritva, ghritam pivet. Rinam kritva. Beg, borrow or steal. Do whatever. Beg, borrow or steal. Do whatever. It is in your capacity, but you should drink ghee. Drink ghee means, you understand? No? Be very opulent. Live very opulently. That is what the new culture is. That they want to live on loan culture. Beg, borrow or steal. Buy now, pay later. So many are in such a, bad financial shape. Why? Because they are overspending. So rinam kritva ghidam pridvet bhasmi bhutasya dehina. So this body, after all, is going to be inflamed to dust. So punaragamana katha. So where are you going to come from, and who is going to catch you? Until that time you live very happily. So this is the hedonistic culture. Hedonistic culture. So if there was no rebirth for the soul, Arjuna had no reason to be afraid of being afflicted by a sinful reaction due to his killing his grandfather and teacher. But at that same time, Krishna sarcastically addressed Arjuna as Mahabaho, mighty arm, because he at least did not accept the theory of the Vaibhashikas, which leaves aside the Vedic wisdom. As a Kshatriya, Arjuna belonged to the Vedic culture, and it behooved him to continue to follow in its principle. So why we are receiving this knowledge? That we do not remain on this avidya platform. That this body is meant only for enjoyment. That is what the mass of men think. Not only men, even women. Everyone. Everyone is enamored by this understanding that this body is meant for. Body is a means for enjoyment. But one cannot enjoy with matter. The soul, which is spirit, spirit cannot enjoy with matter. It is incompatible. And then Krishna explains this principle, which is in the next verse. I'll take three verses more, and I have to complete this section. He says, Jatasi dhruvor mrityur dhruvam janma mritasya cha tasmad apariharyarthe natvam shochitum arhasi. It's 27th verse. So Krishna establishes the principle. See, in Bhagavad-Gīta, you will get the principles. And the principles are further detailed and explained in other scriptures. So, Jatasi dhruvor mrityu, one that has taken birth is inevitable to die. Isn't it? Have you seen anything in this material existence which has birth but which does not face death? Nothing. Can anyone give any example? Think this. Bhagavad-Gīta is meant to make us think in this direction, to open our inquisitiveness. Anyone? No one? And then he says, but along with this principle, that jatas hi dhruvam mriti, dhruvam janma mritasya cha. That which is sure to die is definite to take birth again. Like there is this night. When the sun sets, there is night. But the night, what it declares, it is sure to be over because there will be sunrise. Tasmad aparihararte. So this is what which is unavoidable. It is inevitable. It cannot be stopped. It cannot be changed. So why you are not performing your duty? Why you are being influenced? Why you are being affected? Why you are being impacted? So therefore, in the unavoidable discharge of your duty, you should not lament. So Bhagavad-Gīta very prominently gives us to become free from our suffering state, lamentation. One who is a student of Bhagavad-Gīta, in his life cannot be any lamentation. Krishna is again and again enforcing. So one has to take birth. So this is how one takes birth. One takes birth according to his activities. What he has performed in his previous life. Similarly, he will get a suitable body. Like how do you qualify to come to IARI? Most of you have joined in IARI. What is the basis of joining in IARI? Is your lifelong study. In your schooling, in your graduation. Right or wrong? So similarly, the body that we have received, this is a result of the activities which we have performed in our previous life. So even if you are thinking that the body is sure to die, but the death is not the end. There will be birth again. So the previous was based on the atheistic view, but here it is based on the karmavad. That the body will take birth according to one's actions or one's activities. So Prabhupada is explaining one has to take birth according to one's activities of life. And after finishing one term of activities, one has to die to take birth for the next. In this way, one is going through one cycle of birth and death after another without liberation. So this is the cyclical existence in this material world. That one leaves one body and he accepts the other body. And what decides the criteria for what body he will receive? Based on his activities. So who decides what body we will receive? Yes. It is completely in our own control. So we should never ever blame anyone else for what we are facing in our life. If you have planted the seed of Karela, how can you have mango? You cannot have mango. Try whatever. Will it come? It will never come. So to have the juice and the taste of mango, the seed also has to be of mango. So the happiness and joy that we are desiring in this existence, it has to come from the seed. And what decides the seed? What kind of seed it is? This is the question. Please relate and answer me. So far, if you are hearing attentively, what will decide what will be the seed? How much we have performed our duty. Simple. If we have very judiciously performed our duty, our seed will be good. And not only the seed will be good, the harvest will be good. So it is completely in our own hand. So this cycle of birth and death does not, however, support unnecessary murder, slaughter, and war. But at the same time, violence and war are inevitable factors in human society for keeping law and order. Like a terrorist is caught. And then, some person says that we should leave him. Why? On the grounds of human rights. Or on the grounds of compassion and forgiveness. But is it proper? What he will do? He will create more killing. He will create more disturbance. And he may be absolved. He may be excused by the law of the land. But will he be excused from the law of nature? No. Because what he has done in this human form of life, he has not performed his duty. So he will be punished. So he will severely suffer in future life. So if he is given punishment in this life, so what will happen? There will be not any further suffering in future life. Very important. So if you commit a mistake, and if you think you can get away with it, it is our avidya. It is our ignorance. Because the consequence of it will be compounded. You understand this? It will be compounded. So many times we see people complaining, what wrong have I done in this life? I have never harmed anyone. All my life I have done good to others. But why is this coming to me? If God is there, how he is so cruel to me? Nothing. God has nothing to do with it. It is purely based on our own karma. As we sow, so shall we reap. So Krishna is explaining this. So the battle of Kurukshetra, being the will of the Supreme, was an inevitable event because the battle was fought to establish dharma and to remove the evil. And to fight for the right cause is the duty of a Kshatriya. And Arjuna was denying it. Why should he be afraid or aggrieved at the death of his relatives since he was discharging his proper duty? So when we are performing our duty, there will be some difficulties. There will be some inconvenience. And there will also be some impediments, very serious impediments. So then what we should do? We should give up? No, never. Because if we fail to discharge our duty, what we will face? We will face sinful reactions. We will face sinful reactions. This is what Krishna is educating and enlivening Arjuna. The Prabhupada is saying that why should he be afraid or aggrieved at the death of his relatives since he was discharging his proper duties? He did not deserve to break the law, thereby becoming subjected to the reaction of sinful acts, of which he was so afraid. So the principle is, by avoiding the discharge of his proper duty, he would not be able to stop the death of his relatives, and he would be degraded due to his selection of the wrong path of action. So this we have to be very thoughtful, that we do not degrade ourselves. What is the degradation? That after receiving this human form of life, what is the possibility? Can we be assured that the next life will be human form of life? It will depend on our selection of action. If we perform the right action, we can be elevated. And if we perform wrong actions, then we can be degraded. We can be degraded. I'll take one more verse. And then I'll do the amazing verse next time, which is the 29th verse. Then Krishna gives another reason. See for how many visions of angle Krishna is explaining. Even if you accept the soul is there, there is nothing for you to fear. You should perform your duty. You should fight. If you don't think that there is soul, if you fail to understand, and this body is the all in all, and this body is the combination of chemicals, so why fear for the loss of chemicals? And even if you think that one is going to take birth again, then again still do not fear, because if you are performing your duty, you will have a higher birth. You will get more opportunities for enjoyment. And then Krishna explains another philosophical understanding. He says, Avyaktadini bhutani vyaktamadhyani bharata avyaktanidhyananeva tatraka paridevana. Avyakt means which is unmanifest. So the soul, before taking this body, was it manifest? No. Where we were? We all know we were in the womb of our mother for 9 months. Right or wrong? Everyone? Where have we appeared from? From the womb of our mother. But were we manifest? No. We were not manifest. So once the birth has taken place, we became manifest. But previously we were unmanifest. Avyakta adini. So in the beginning, we were unmanifest. And in the interim, which is madhyani, we are manifest. So till the time the soul is appearing in the body, it is manifest. And when the soul leaves the body, again it becomes unmanifest. So this cycle is continuing. It is avyakta, vyakta and avyakta. Very simple. Okay. So it is vyakta madhyani bharata and avyakta nidhinanyeva. And when the soul leaves the body, what do we say? Nidhan ho gaya. He has passed away. So the question is, who has passed away? Whom you know is lying here. So who has passed away? Soul. But did we had any relationship with the soul? Do we have any identity with the soul? Like says my father has passed away. So who is the father? My body or the soul? The soul. But whom we were relating with the father? The body. The body is still lying there. So Krishna is uplifting from avidya to atmavidya. Avidya to atmavidya. From agyan to vigyan. This is the real science. The science of spirit souls. So here he is saying all created beings are unmanifest in their beginning, manifest in their interim state, and unmanifest again when annihilated. So what need is there for lamentation? Big disturbance comes in your life. Someone has really done some very big injustice to you. And you are very disturbed. And you feel that, this is the end of the world. Why do I exist? What is the reason for that? So you just think on this. That you are manifest for only a minuscule period of time. And again, you will become unmanifest. You see the impact? What will be the impact? Your disturbance will become immediately low. It is only because of a wrong identification we are getting disturbed. Why? Because we are on the external plane. So Krishna is elevating us to come to the eternal plane. So accepting that there are two classes of philosophers, one believing in the existence of the soul and others not believing in the existence of the soul. There is no cause for lamentation in either. Non-believers in the existence of soul are called atheists by followers of Vedic wisdom. Yet even for argument's sake, we accept this atheistic theory, still there is no cause for lamentation. So in our life, we should never ever get disturbed. There is no reason to get disturbed. There is only one reason to get disturbed. What is that reason? Avidya. Very good. You have got the spirit. Avidya. Till the time nations or ignorance exist in our heart, we are only disturbed. So the person who is situated in knowledge, who has received the knowledge from Bhagavad-Gīta, he will not be disturbed amidst the greatest calamity. Why? Because he knows he has nothing to do with the temporary things. His existence is eternal. It cannot be terminated by any force. So there what Prabhupada is saying, yet even for argument's sake, we accept the atheistic theory, still there is no cause for lamentation. Apart from separate existence of the soul, the material elements remain unmanifest before creation. So that is how the creation is also. The creation comes into being, stays for some time, and it becomes unmanifest. You study the nature. Everything has a cyclical impact, right or wrong? There is everything in this cycle. It manifests for some time and it becomes into oblivion. So apart from the separate existence of the soul, the material elements remain unmanifest before creation. From the subtle state of non-manifestation comes manifestation. How the manifestation is very interesting. See here, be on the same page, be on the same line. From ether, air is generated. So from subtle, gross comes. What is subtle? Soul. And what is gross? Body. So from ether, air is generated. And from air, fire is generated. From fire, water is generated. And from water, earth becomes manifest. And we dwell where? On earth. Can we live on water? Can we live in air? Can we live in fire? Can we live in ether? No. We require earth. From the earth, many varieties of manifestations take place. For example, a big skyscraper manifests from the earth. And when it is dismantled, the manifestation becomes again unmanifest. And where does it merge? Again into the earth. It appears from the earth and it disappears into birth. So it comes again unmanifested and remains as atoms in the ultimate stage. The law of conservation of energy remains, but in course of time, things are manifested and unmanifested. That is the difference. Then what is the cause for lamentation, either in the stage of manifestation or in unmanifestation? Somehow or other, even in the unmanifested stage, things are not lost. Like the sun, is it not visible to us? That means it is lost? No, it will appear again. The sun is always there in the sky. If you travel towards Europe, you will see the sun. Any one of you who has stayed outside India in Europe? Any one of you? No one? You have stayed? Where? Scotland. So in summers, what is the time of sunset? There is no sunset. We have to close the curtains to sleep. I have experienced that. We had to close the curtains because it was daylight. That is daylight. You know, there is the daylight time, no? Which keeps changing. So you cannot sleep because the body cycle is like that, that unless and until there is dark, you don't get sleep. That is why the British Empire used to say that the sun never sets in the British Empire. Have you heard that?
Yes.
Yeah. Why? Because they had colonies all over the world. And time zone keeps changing. The sun is always there in the sky. But right now we cannot see the sun. But does it mean that it does not exist? No. This is what Prabhupada is explaining here. That all elements remain unmanifested. Sorry. It does not. Okay. Where was I?
What is the cause of
Lamentation. Huh? Yeah. So, and if we accept the Vedic conclusion as stated in Bhagavad-Gīta, that these material bodies are perishable in due course of time, antamanta ime deha, but the soul is eternal, nityasya uptaha sharirina, then we must remember always that the body is like a dress. So, body is compared in Bhagavad-Gīta to be like a dress. Vasanti jīnāni yatha vihāya. And therefore, why lament for changing of the dress? So if you give up the old dress and you get a new dress, so how do you feel? Distressed? Disturbed? No. You feel rejuvenated, isn't it? The material body has no factual existence in relation to the eternal soul. It is sometimes like a dream. In a dream, we may think of flying in the sky or sitting on the chariot as a king. There may be many more you can add on. But when we wake up, we can see that there is neither in the sky, we are neither in the sky nor seated on the chariot. The Vedic wisdom encourages self-realization on the basis of non-existence of the material body. Therefore, in either case, whether one believes in the existence of soul or does not believe in the existence of soul, there is no cause of lamentation for the loss of the body. So Krishna is encouraging Arjuna that do not become aggrieved. Do not become disillusioned. You must perform your duty. Because human life is a life which is of responsibility, and the responsibility is to discharge one's duty. Like we have your respected professors here. Their duty is to impart knowledge, provided the students accept. They are interested. And what is the duty of the students? Is to gain knowledge, is to approach them, to receive knowledge. So where there is a proper combination of the dutiful teacher and the dutiful student, then the transfer of knowledge can take place. Okay. So we will continue next Saturday. No? Next Saturday is we will be in Vrindavan. How many of you have been to Vrindavan? This is Kartik month. None of you? Only none of you have. Have you heard about Vrindavan? How many would you like to come to Vrindavan? Okay. So, whom are you in touch with here? Our devotees. Jagnesh, you know all of them? Some of them? Few of them. Do one thing. We have your senior batchmates here. Yeah. So the girls, you take their names and their numbers. Sonika, Mamta, Shreya. Where is Nikki? Oh, she's in the backside. Okay. Okay. So 4 of you and those who are in the male body. Although the soul does not designate. It is the dress. A dress may be of female, dress may be of male. In this life, it would be male. Next life, it would be female. That is not the proper criteria, but still. So those who are on the male bodies, they can give the names to Dolamani sir, Yagnesh Prabhu, and Dipankar. Where is Dipankar? Okay. So those who are interested, we are serious. No, our group is going from IARI on 28th, 29th, and 30th. We have 3 days of real, gala time, big gathering. There will be thousands of devotees assembling from all over the world in Vrindavan. And we have good accommodation and very nice, fooding for all of you. And contribution is voluntarily, whatever you want to contribute. Up to you. Yeah. So those who are interested, and 2 days will be Saturdays and Sundays. So that days are off for you. So you won't have to leave classes, because we don't agree. If you are a student of Bhagavad-Gīta, you will excel in your study. Because Bhagavad-Gīta enforces us to perform our duty. To be focused in performing our duty. There are 2 duties. Next section will talk about it. One is the occupational duty, which pertains to the body, which is being in a student life, or being a householder, or being in a renounced life. Yeah. But there is also a constitutional duty. Constitutional duty means that does not change. That is for the soul. So we have to perform both. Occupational duty also and constitutional duty. So constitutional duty is what? We will know from Bhagavad-Gīta. Okay. So thank you very much for coming. I really appreciate that you spend so much of your valuable time in trying to learn knowledge from Bhagavad-Gīta. If you have any doubt or any question, you may ask. Don't feel shy. If you have any doubt, any question, please ask. Or anything you would like to share or speak, feel free. Yes.
Yes, I agree that soul lives here. Means soul is there, and means body can deteriorate, but soul is there. But if someone is going far from us, we can means we can try now.
We can?
We can try now.
Yes. Why? Because we have relationship. We have affection. We have feelings. We are humans. We are not robots. Yeah. But that does not mean because of our crying or feelings or affection, we will not perform our duty. That will be irresponsibility. Bhagavad-Gīta enlivens and enlightens us for that, educates us. Yeah. What's your name? Amit. Okay, Amit. And you're doing MSc here?
Yes.
Okay. Anyone else? Any other question or thought, please ask. Don't feel hesitant. Yeah.
So like I'm not very Gita fully,
Okay.
but when I read for the first time,
Okay. Please hear. Kindly hear.
I
Yeah.
just got the negative moods. Like when I read for the first time, I felt like God is boasting about himself. I am the Lord, I am the God, I am everything. So I thought, why God is saying like this? Okay, whatever problem will have just come to me, like I am the one which has all the solutions. But same thing should apply to any human being. Suppose a human being is saying to you, whatever problem will have come to me, I am the best, I am the everything. You will say, what kind of person he is? He just boasting about himself, but not say such things about God. So why means is this thought the wrong thought of mine? That when I read about Gita, it's saying like God is everything. So I thought, why God is saying like this? Once when I read like my mentor was worshipping at Lord Vishnu Thursday Katha. So in that Katha, I read ki when someone is worshipping God, then God is happy. But when someone forgets to worship God, God is giving punishment to that person. So I thought, why? Why God is...
Yeah, I got your point. I got your point. You have delivered it well. Whereas, yes, very logical to think about it. But I'll give you the right perspective. Like we all have our father. Yeah. If we need something, whom should we approach? Should we approach our neighbors? Should we approach our relatives? Whom should we approach? Father. So if the father tells his son that, my dear sir, if you have any problem, if you have any trouble, please come and approach me. Is he boosting? Why? Because he loves us and he cares for us. Krishna says in Bhagavad-Gīta, Pita hamasya jagato mata dhata pitamaha. So he is not just our Pita. He said, why should I go for father? Father is very strict. He's always chastising. I don't care for my father. I have my mother. I'll approach my. It says, Pita hamasya jagato mata. The nourishment which is being given is also through the care and love which is being given by the mother, is also there in the Supreme Lord. Just imagine, the body that we get belongs to our mother and father, which is temporary. This relationship never existed before we were born. And this relationship will not continue till any one of us cease to exist. In that, there is so much of affection. So just consider that which is eternal, the soul which is eternal, and the supreme which is supremely eternal. That relationship which can never terminate, what will be the level of affection? So if he is saying, don't look elsewhere, look towards me, is he boasting? Because he has the solution. But the problem with us is we are not able to see him or approach him. Got it? So don't worry. Many misconceptions will be dismantled. Thank you for asking. Don't keep things in your heart, because doubts do not allow us to get the right understanding. Arjuna will ask so many questions in Bhagavad-Gīta. There are 84 questions inquired by Arjuna. And in one question, there are sets of questions. Many questions. So if one is really hearing Bhagavad-Gīta, what will come out? Questions, inquiries. Okay. Thank you very much. I'm very enlivened and inspired to see all of you. And I hope it will continue. And we have, prasadam for all of you. The sanctified food which is offered to Krishna, which is karma free. So please join us for dinner in our Satmik class. All of you are invited. Thank you very much. Srimad Bhagavad-Gīta ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. All glories to the assembled students. Hare Krishna.